Hello and welcome to this opening lecture on our subject research methodology. Now, whenever we start a subject, studying of a subject, understanding of a subject, we should always ask ourselves, what is this subject? The opening lectures which we generally tend to ignore, which we generally do not take seriously, are actually very important ones, because it is these opening lectures that set up the base for our subject. So, this being our opening lecture for research methodology, we'll talk about, first of all, introduction of research. What exactly research is. So, let us get on with this opening lecture and let us talk of what research is. Meaning of research. So, research in very common parlance refers to search for knowledge. So, it is search for knowledge. You have an issue at hand, you have some problem, you have something that is not feeling complete, you feel something needs to be found out, something needs to be worked upon, and you go out. And you go out and search for knowledge. Search for knowledge about something. For example, I'm feeling hungry and it kicks in a research process. What is the research? What to eat. What should I consume which will be good for my taste buds? What should I consume which will be healthy for my body, will bring me nutritions? And of course, what should I consume which will help me fight my hunger? So, in very simple terms, research is search for knowledge. You go out and search for knowledge about some problem that you are faced with. Then, it is a scientific and systematic search for pertinent information on specific topics. It is not some random search. Yes, when generally we go for a research, for example, when I am looking for what should I eat, it feels that it is not a scientific or a systematic approach, but yes, it is a scientific and a systematic approach. I gather data from my past experiences, what I have consumed in my past. I gather data, what have the feedbacks been of various facilities, of various suppliers from where I have ordered my food. So, I get a feedback from my past data. So, yes, it is a systematic approach. You get data from your past, you measure your hunger for now, you measure the temperatures outside, you measure your mood, and then you go on and order something. So, it is, yes, a scientific and a systematic search for pertinent information on a specific topic. Then, research is an art of scientific investigation. This is a very important definition. This is a definition where majority of the people misinterpret research. It is an art of scientific investigation. We have a very scientific process which we'll see in lectures to come, that there is a scientific process, but it is an art to apply that scientific process. You cannot just go out and apply any method of research. We'll see different methods. You cannot just go out and apply any method. You need to pick up your particular method depending on your query, what kind of query you are into, and then apply that method. So, it is an art. Not everybody can go out and do a good work with research. That is the major difference between a new researcher and an experienced researcher. That an experienced researcher has practiced this art, while a new researcher has only learnt it as a scientific investigation. So, that is the third definition or meaning that we have. Then there is a careful investigation or inquiry, especially through search for new facts in any branch of knowledge. So, a careful investigation or inquiry, especially through search for new facts in any branch of knowledge. It is not a random investigation, it is a carefully planned, well organized inquiry through search of new facts in any branch of knowledge. Search of new facts is, last time when I bought a mobile phone, it was in, let's say, 2015. Now I wish to buy a new mobile phone because my mobile phone probably is not giving me good performance. Maybe the battery is dying too soon, maybe the screen performance is not so good, the touch performance is not so good, maybe the clarity is an issue. So I bought a mobile in 2015. Now I wish to buy another mobile in 2020. Last time when I bought a mobile, what was my criteria? My criteria might have been that I liked photography at that time, I liked gaming at that time. So my criteria might have been a good screen, a good camera resolution, a good screen for gaming, and a good processor that could process the games. So at that time my criteria was different. But now in 2020, when I am again going out to buy a smartphone, my criteria might be different. So now my criteria might be battery. So my criteria shifted. So that investigation should be in light of the criteria that you are looking for, and also in light of the new facts that have come up. Maybe at that time the 5.5, 6, 6.5 inches screens were just coming in. So they were not so much battery efficient, but now they are very much battery efficient. At that time, probably the batteries were like 1500, 1700 mAh. But now 4000 mAh is almost a norm. So new facts have come up. So now when I go again for the very same research which I went in for in 2015, my parameters, my design might be different in light of the new facts that have come from outside, the new facts that belong to me, to my query, to my stage. I have changed my preferences. So my research methodology may change, which we'll see in lectures to come. So it is a careful investigation or inquiry, especially through search for new facts in any branch. Research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions, collecting, organizing and evaluating data, making deductions and reaching conclusions, and at last carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulated hypothesis or not. Now, if we look at this particular meaning of research, we see that it is a long one. It goes on like, research comprises defining and redefining problems. You tell me what your problem is. I cannot just go out and research for anything. You should be very much clear about what your problems are. So define, redefine your problems. We'll see how important this definition of a problem is in slides to come. So research comprises of defining and redefining your problems, formulating a hypothesis or suggested solutions. Now this is a very important fact. Because this video is particularly targeted, this complete channel is mainly targeted at commerce and management students studying subjects like statistics, operation research, production, research methodology, statistics. So, by and large, in our studies, in our research work, research is related to management, research is related to social sciences. Yes, you might have a hypothesis, but it is not at all necessary that every research will have a hypothesis. It is not at all necessary that every research will have a hypothesis. There will be researches which are not at all concerned about testing something. We'll see in types of researches, there are researches which are not testing anything, they are just telling us what it is happening outside. So it is not at all necessary that you will be having a hypothesis. For example, right now we are fighting with corona disease, COVID-19 variant of it. Now, it will be too immature for me to formulate some kind of hypothesis going by the patterns of past. Because it is a new virus, there are new problems. It is literally in infancy. It has only been 2-3 months since it has picked up. So I have no data regarding it. I have no data regarding its patterns. So it will be very immature-ish to formulate a hypothesis. Also, I have no experience with COVID-19 variant or this kind of variant. So it will be irrelevant to formulate a hypothesis. Right now what we are doing is, we are just studying it and we are telling that these kind of patterns have been observed. That is it what we are doing right now. So maybe in these kind of studies, hypothesis might not be there. Then there can be studies in which hypothesis can be there. For example, I wish to challenge Maslow's hierarchy. I wish to challenge Maslow's hierarchy in India or in Bikaner city of Rajasthan, where I am making this video. I might go out and challenge that no, Maslow's hierarchy is not relevant in places like Bikaner. I might go out and challenge that no, Maslow's hierarchy is not relevant in today's time. In 2020, it is not relevant. So my hypothesis could be that an employee is driven by Maslow's hierarchy. Or my hypothesis on the contrary could be that no, an employee is not driven by Maslow's hierarchy. Employees' motivation levels are not driven by Maslow's hierarchy. So I could go with either of the hypotheses depending on the kind of preliminary work that I have done. Maybe I have gone through some journals, maybe I have gone through some researches conducted in Bikaner, and those tend to suggest that no, people at lowest level are not necessarily driven by money or physical facilities. They are more driven by social gatherings. People who belong to Bikaner, who have had some kind of contact with Bikaner, they will tell you that money is not the driving factor for, not so much of a driving factor for people of Bikaner. They are more driven by relations. They are more driven by being with their loved ones. So yes, my hypothesis could be that Maslow's hierarchy is not relevant in today's context. Or on the contrary, my hypothesis could be Maslow's hierarchy is relevant in places like Bikaner also, in 2020 also. So hypothesis is not at all necessary. You could have a hypothesis, you may not have a hypothesis. People do tend to make this mistake, commit this mistake, that where is your hypothesis? Why have you not formulated a hypothesis? My research was such, it did not need a hypothesis, there could not be a hypothesis. So research comprises defining and redefining problems, very important part, we will talk about it in detail. Formulating a hypothesis, if at all possible, give me a statement, tell me what I can expect of this research or suggested solutions. Collect your data, organize your data, evaluate your data. Go out, collect data, organize it in a proper format, evaluate it and draw some conclusions from it, making deductions and reaching conclusions. And at last, carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulated hypothesis. Now, when I have done the complete work, when I have gathered the data, I have collected all my data, organized it, evaluated it, found out some statistics, found out some measures. From my side, I have reached some conclusions too. Now is the time when I should test my conclusions. Before declaring them to be valid, it is always a good idea to test them, so that our research is more pertinent to a given problem. A solution is more pertinent to a given problem. So research comprises of defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions. You may formulate, you may not formulate. In descriptive kind of studies, it is not necessary to have a hypothesis. While in social sciences, in management, in consumer behavior, generally hypothesis is formulated. Collecting, organizing, evaluating your data and then finally giving your conclusions. So this is another way of looking at research, meaning of research. Then research is an original contribution to the existing stock of knowledge, making for its advancement. Yes, right now I said I'll be going out and challenging Maslow's hierarchy. Now, if I challenge Maslow's hierarchy and I come up with a sixth level also instead of those 5 levels, or if I go ahead and remove one of those 5 levels and I present only 4 levels, in that case I'll be adding to the existing stock of knowledge. There is already an existing stock of knowledge which says that a person's motivation is driven, a worker's motivation is driven at 5 level, driven at different stages by 5 different factors. It could be physical, social, insurance, esteem, self-actualization, and so on, whatever it is. So that is an existing stock. Now my research will contribute more to that stock. That yes, in Western nations it might be so, but in Eastern nations it is not the case. So I'll be adding to the existing stock of knowledge. Then research is an academic activity, and as such the term should be used in a technical sense. Now when I say that research is an academic activity and as such the term should be used in a technical sense, it is not necessarily something that only a teacher will do. But yes, a person who is well versed with the techniques, who has studied research as a discipline, who has studied statistical tools as a discipline, as a subject, maybe SPSS, maybe R. So when he has studied those tools, maybe Excel, when he has studied those tools, he will be better equipped to give me better results. I'll give you an example. You wish to buy a mobile phone and your dad wishes to buy a new plot. You are 18, 20 years, 20, 22 years in age. Now tell me, where is your expertise? Where can you give better? Who should give his opinion in what? Who should gather data for which? If your father gathers data for your next mobile purchase in your house or smart television purchase in your house, would that be a good idea for a smart TV or a smart mobile? I don't think so. It will be a good idea if you, who had some experience in mobile phones, in smart televisions, in Android, better you go out and search for a smart TV or a smart mobile phone. While your father, who has lived in this city for 40-45 years, who had seen colonies come up, who has seen what kind of communities live in what kind of areas of this city, he is better equipped to go out and search for a piece of land which he wishes to acquire. So in that sense, it is an academic activity. Person with experience should pursue research. If we flip the scenario, you go out and look for a plot and your father goes out and looks out for a smart television. Imagine the scenario you both will end up in, your family will end up in. So in that sense, yes, it is an academic activity to be practiced by specialists. Now, next is motivation in research. Now, what can be the motivations in research? Why do we go in for research? Why at all do I need to go in for a research? Why cannot I just go out and buy a mobile? Why cannot my father just go out and buy a piece of land? These are the motivations in research. Desire to get research degree along with its consequential benefits. A very simple, very first, very straightforward reason, motivation that drives researches in places like India. Researches in India are majorly done for getting a research degree. They are rarely done to address an issue. You'll rarely see these days journalists, editors going out and researching something. Majority of the research is done for the purpose of PhD degree, for getting a degree from a university. So that is a very important driving. Yes, in this exercise also, we do tend to see good work done. good findings coming out, but it is mainly driven by not a search for knowledge, rather a search for degree. That is a most important motivation for research in places like India. Then, desire to face the challenge in solving the unsolved problems, that is concern over practical problems, initiates research. There are practical problems. We all are suffering these days with COVID-19 lockdowns. We all have been sitting in India at home for some 30-35 days, and it will continue for 42 days. The present scenario suggests that it will continue to 3rd May. It started since some 20th of March. So, for 40-45 days, we are stuck at home. There is a practical problem. Now, everybody in his possible periphery, in his specialization area, is working to find better solutions to this challenge. Doctors are working on how to defeat corona. Academicians are working on how to deliver lectures to their students who are sitting at home. Regular classes are not possible, exams are coming, semester is almost at conclusion. So, teachers are doing researches, they are trying out new softwares, universities are searching for good study material available online. So, everybody is trying to solve a problem. We are faced with a problem, and everybody in this setup is trying to work on a possible ways in which he can. So, desire to face a challenge in solving an unsolved problem. This is an unsolved problem. Once we have a vaccination, once we are through with semester exams, there will be no problem. Next semester exam is due down the line in December. So, we can wait. But right now we are faced with a problem that you had to finish up your semester by 5th, 10th April, and on 20th March, all of a sudden, there is a lockdown. This is a problem, and we all are trying to search on it. So, there is a desire to face a problem. You will find academicians, you will find universities, you will find people, you will find doctors who are doing nothing. So, it is not at all necessary that in a situation everybody goes out and researches on things. But you will definitely find certain teachers who will test tens of softwares and give you a software that we can work on this. Please try this software. Will give ideas. You will find doctors that let us try these compositions, these combinations. Maybe it will help us fight corona. So, there is a desire. Not everybody in a problem will go out for research, but then there is a desire to solve it in a better way. Not everyone searches for 10 days before buying a new mobile. There will be people who will just walk into a shop and buy that mobile. But then there will be people who will search for 10 days, 15 days, ask 10 different friends, search data on 10 different sites, day in and day out, 10 days. They are just working, looking at ads, looking in newspaper, looking at schemes. So, there may be a desire to solve an unsolved problems. Then another motivation is desire to get intellectual joy of doing some creative work. There are people who read. Why do they read? They have passed their 12th class, they have passed their graduation, they have passed their post-graduation, they have done doctorate, they are well placed. Why are they reading? They are reading for intellectual joy. They are reading for their growth. Similarly, when we talk of research also, we saw in the recent example, you have 100 different teachers in a big government setup, engineering college. You have 100 different teachers. Not all 100 are working on finding better ways to communicate with students. Not all 100 are trying to make lectures, trying to prepare notes. But 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 teachers are there who take it as a challenge. Not necessarily all 10 will be making lectures, will be circulating notes. Maybe someone is taking a very simple subject whose syllabus was also complete, but still he might get into this research work? Because of that intellectual joy. He feels at peace when he is doing something new, when he is searching for something new, when he is searching for something to make lives better of other people. A very important purpose of research is making lives better for other people. Desire to be of service to society. This is our point that we are talking. Desire to be of service to society. That teacher whose syllabus was covered, that doctor who was not necessarily posted in a ward where corona patients were coming in, but still he is working. He's trying out combinations. He's studying researches. He's sitting on net, studying what was done in China, what was done in US, what was done in your Spain, Italy. He's just going out and studying papers, researches. He just wants to find some clue. He just wants to find some clue how it is propagating. What are the symptoms? Right now we all are just extrapolating that maybe it is 14 days, the incubation period. We're just extrapolating that maybe it will spread to 2.5 persons from one person. No, it is very early stages. So there are researchers who are working on that. Why? So that they could be of use for society. Some do it for intellectual joy. Some do it for betterment of society. Ultimately, they are not bound with that problem. They are not bound with that duty, but still they are doing. So motivations could come from anywhere. Then there is desire to get respectability. Yes, it can be linked to our first point, that is desire to get a research degree. Where is the problem of getting a research degree? Okay, if you are in academics, yes, it does help in getting promotions and in getting hikes. But if you are not in academics, there is no fun in getting a doctorate, calling yourself doctor. But then people find this urge to get respectability. That can be a driving force. Anything can drive anybody. Then, significance of research in management. What is the significance of research in management? We people being, this channel mainly being commerce and management, targeted at students of commerce and management. So what is the significance of research in management particularly? To gain familiarity with a phenomena or to achieve new insights. To gain familiarity with the phenomena, with an existing phenomena, or to gain more insights into it. Now, that could be like trends in management education in India. Studies done with this object in view are termed as exploratory or formulative research studies. You can leave these terms exploratory and formulative research studies because we will study them once again in probably second or third lecture. So we can drop this thing for now. But these kind of studies which are done for exploring something, for knowing the unknown, generally fall into this category of exploratory or formative researches. Now, to gain familiarity with the phenomena or to achieve new insights into it. We'll club this to a present situation because we all are facing it. There are people who pick up the newspaper each day, each morning, go through new cases in their city, in their state, in their country, in their continent, in their subcontinent, and they are happy with it. Then there are people who sit on internet, go through 10 different websites and observe the patterns, how this growth is happening. They are no more satisfied with how many cases have come up today in my city, how many cases have come up yesterday, how many more cases as compared to yesterday. Rather, they are concerned with patterns. Rather, they are concerned with what are the patterns in their city and state, in their city, state and their country. What are the patterns in their country as compared to patterns coming from other continents or countries where this corona strike happened a bit earlier. So, Certain people could be satisfied with limited knowledge that they get, but then certain people wish to achieve more insights into a problem. They wish to know more what is happening underneath what is visible. So, to gain familiarity with the phenomena or to achieve new insights into it. Then, to portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual, situation or a group. For example, tastes of youth. Studied with this object in view are known as descriptive research studies. Now, these kind of studies simply are going out and describing what is happening to portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual, situation or a group. Now, if you are into this kind of research, you will not be having a hypothesis, as we talked in the previous slide. It is not at all necessary that you will be having a hypothesis everywhere. So, to portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual, situation or a group. A particular individual, why is he acting in this particular fashion? Why is he doing what he is doing? A particular individual, a situation. We are faced with lockdowns. How will we revive the economy? How can we continue with our studies? Majority of the schools have shifted to online classes, online lectures. Majority of the colleges are making videos. Universities are making videos for their students. So, a situation could be faced by an individual, explaining characteristics of an individual. Why does he get angry? How can he run so fast? Why does he have such a good hold on political knowledge? Why does he have such a good hold on religious or spiritual knowledge, spiritual textures? So, describing about a particular individual, a situation that we might be faced with, or a group. That group could be people affected by corona, a particular religion, a particular state, a particular city. So, portray accurately characteristics of individuals, situations or a group. What is happening there? What is happening with an individual? What is happening with a society? What is happening with a group? What is happening with that city? If you are telling this, it is more of a descriptive study. And remember, you will more often than not be having hypothesis. You will not be having hypothesis in these kind of studies. So, significance of research could be gain familiarity or new insights, portray accurately the situation, individual or a group, then to determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else. Medical researches on diseases like the one happening right now. How is it transmitting? Initially, it was known to have come from bats, then it was rejected. Then some alternative theory is saying that yes, it may have come through some birds. Then again, we are accepting bats. So, just following the patterns and trying to see how many people were infected who did that particular thing, analyzing the deaths. Now, in particular situation, we are seeing that people above 60 are more prone to attack by this corona, serious attack by this corona and to deaths. Now, what is this? Determine the frequency with which something is occurring, the frequency with which deaths are occurring. Clubbing your previous ailments with your deaths in corona. And that is how we have come to know that if you have a past history of some ailments, then you are more likely to catch up corona, and then it is more likely that you might end up in an ICU, on a ventilator, or maybe dead. So, this is a research. What is the frequency with something is happening, with which something is happening? Medical research studies with this object are known as diagnostic research studies. Diagnostic, why? Because we get some data, we analyze it, and then we give our conclusion. We study some patterns, we study some cross tabulations, cross connections, and then we come out with a summation. So, diagnostic research studies. Then to test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables. This is generally what happens in social sciences in our researches. where we try to study dependency between two variables. We take an independent variable, we take a dependent variable, and we try to find out, are they related? Does controlling over dependent variable, does controlling over independent variable reflect in dependent variable? Like if I take an example of advertising and sales, advertising becomes an independent variable, sales become a dependent variable. Sales, we can assume that sales is a result of advertising, a good advertising campaign, aggressive advertising campaign. So sales are a result of advertising. So advertising becomes independent. Now I wish to check what is the effect of more advertising on sales? What is the effect of less advertising on sales? I personally feel that the more you advertise, more will be your sales. This is my opinion. I might say, I have not put that example over here. Here it is. More studies, better marks. I personally say that the more you study, the better marks you get. I personally say that the more you pump into your advertising campaign, more sales you'll get. This is my opinion. So what I can do is, I can start with this hypothesis. Now there are variables. In first case, the variables are advertising and sales. I can go out, I can survey 100 companies, check their advertising budgets, check their sales, similar kind of, and then I'll say that the company giving more advertising was giving more sales, hence my opinion is correct. And if this is not reflected by the data, that is, the companies spending more are not making so much sales, then my hypothesis will be rejected. So the researches can be to test a hypothesis wherein we are checking a causal relationship between variables. My opinion is, my hypothesis is more studies, better marks. I can go out, I can survey 500 students, I can ask their parents, I can ask them, what are your reading habits, what are your studying habits, how much time do you give to your regular studies, and then I can check their marks. If I see there some kind of correlation, then yes, my hypothesis is accepted. And if I see that people who are studying for 12 hours are not doing so well as the people who are studying for 2 hours are doing, maybe my hypothesis may get rejected. So to test a hypothesis, we go out and research. Are sales really dependent on advertising? Are marks really dependent on? You go out and search. I have a hypothesis. I feel these are related variables. You go out and search. Then types of researches. Now, as far as types of researches are concerned, this is a topic that lot of people tend to confuse. And now what I'll do over here is, I'll take a break over here and we'll start with types of research in next video. So we'll call it a day for at least this video, and we'll continue with types of researches in next video, because this video is getting lengthy. So we'll continue in next video. If you have any issues, questions, queries, ideas, suggestions, you can leave in comment box. Please do subscribe if you have not already subscribed to. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Take care. Hello, don't go anywhere as yet. Here are some cards related to the video you just watched. Watch another video. And yes, do subscribe to our channel by clicking the logo here.